Hello, everybody. All right. All right, we're live. And this is a live show. I'm going to do like an hour live show. I'm on vacation, but I felt obligated to do a live show. You can see I'm in a hotel room. Let me know who's here. Vadim, hello, people of the internet. Let me know what you want to talk about. I got like an hour, and then we're going to eat. There's this restaurant that's got a rib special on Monday nights. I'm in the Dominican Republic. But I felt obligated to our loyal listeners to do an hour show tonight. With just me, Rob's working. And these are my reading glasses, in case you're wondering, because I have my contacts on. And so that way I can read the comments. Otherwise, I can't read the comments. So I'm willing to talk about whatever you want. I thought the NBA draft, the NFL draft was interesting. And the NBA playoffs are going on, but also camp open up for the Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark. A lot of crazy things going on about that. So let me know what you want to talk about. So I will talk about that. I'll talk about the NFL. I love the NFL. Football is my favorite sport, actually. This channel was started to do football and basketball, but it turned into Caitlin Clark because you guys are loyal listeners of Caitlin Clark, and that's where the views were. But I did think it was interesting that this woman went on Bleaker Report and said that Paige Beckers led the nation in assists with 4.5 assists. And then she contradicted herself and said that someone else led the nation in assists. And she didn't slip to 144. Is that what Shadir Sanders went to? Wow, yeah, that was wild. When you have three factors making you go late, that's what happens. But I've never seen someone slip like that. And I've been watching the NFL draft. It wasn't a big deal before. But to slip that many spots when you're expected to go in the top five or even like third, that was weird. And, it was a combination of his father. He probably interviewed more poorly than any other quarterback in NFL history, according to what I read. He was egotistical and self-entitled, didn't come across as a leader. I think he's underrated as a player at this point because the Browns got him easy. They got him by almost nothing in the fifth round, right? Is that what it was? I don't even know why they traded up to draft him. Nobody else was drafting him. That was weird. So he got drafted, and now they got quarterback competition is Flacco, who they really see as a replacement if someone gets injured. Pickett, who wasn't successful at a good organization like Pittsburgh, and then he did okay with the Eagles as a backup, and then they got another quarterback they drafted and him. So he could potentially start, or they could have Flacco start the year and have him learn for half a season and then go in there. If he beats out the other quarterback. I forget the other quarterback's name that they drafted. What was his name? So I thought that was really interesting, Shadir Sanders. He must have interviewed so poorly. And then his father was saying, I can't be with certain teams. Like, dude, he's not that great a quarterback. You don't have that much pull. You're not John Elway, whatever. So, but Deion Sanders is a great player, but he's a bit difficult to deal with personality-wise. So, right. So we'll see what happens. I think his arm strength's fine. It's not super strong. But people started saying things like he was slow and a slow release and slow, like running. He's not slow running. That's silly. He's fast. But he held onto the ball too long. He threw some 50-50 balls up to Travis Hunter because he's a great guy. So, I don't know what to say. But he also had no offensive line for 2 years. So to be fair to him, if he had a better offensive line, he would have been even better. So let's anyway. So we'll see. And you can teach quarterbacks to throw the ball away and to release it earlier and to quit hanging onto the ball too long and trying to make the, hero miracle play. You can teach quarterbacks to do that so he can improve. But I've never seen a player drop like that ever in the NFL. And I've been watching the NFL for, following it for 60 years. I thought it was bizarre. I turned on the draft and I was waiting to see what Green Bay was going to get, and I go, oh my God, Sedeur Sanders isn't drafted yet. And it was like, I don't know, it was pick 20 or something. I go, that's weird. I thought he was going in the top 5. Then I look again, Green Bay picks, Eagles pick. I come back. At the end of the day, I check the draft, and he's not drafted. Day 2, same thing. That was weird. So we'll see. I thought he was the second best quarterback in the draft. So maybe I'm wrong. I understand his personality issues and his physical, things he did wrong, but he's also talented. He had a good completion percentage, threw for a lot of yards. His interception to touchdown ratio is good. And he played for a team that's, not a great team, not a great offensive line, not a great running game. So you can say whatever you want, but I'm not saying he's going to be a superstar. I'm just saying something else is going on there. He must have interviewed. I bet you he interviewed more poorly than any other quarterback in NFL history. Why else would so many people pass on him? I think he is athletic. I don't agree with you, Charlie. I just don't agree with you. I think he is athletic. So, yeah, he shouldn't have had his jersey retired. I'm not saying he should have had his jersey retired. We will see. He could be a total bust, in which case everybody was right, or he could turn out to be a good quarterback, which means they're wrong because only like half the quarterbacks drafted in the first round end up even being pretty good. Half the quarterbacks drafted in the first round are busts, total busts. So that's not true, Charlie. He is mobile. I don't agree with you at all. He is mobile. I think he's actually fairly fast on his feet. You might not, like his releases might not be fast enough for you, but I don't agree he's not fast. He had a lot of running touchdowns. He avoided sacks at times, but he didn't show up for the combine, did he? He didn't show up for the combine, and he didn't play. He didn't play in the 2, I guess, the Senior Bowl and the blue-gray game. But I wouldn't play in those either. You might get injured. All right, I don't agree with you guys, but we'll see. I don't think he'll. I'm not saying he's going to be a superstar. I'm just saying there's a chance a lot of people are going to be sorry they passed on. We'll find out. Mel Kiper liked him. Mel Kiper liked the Cleveland Browns. Rob's a Cleveland Browns fan, and Mel Kiper liked the Cleveland Browns. And so he got an A+. They got an A+ for their draft. Now, I think grades for drafts are silly because you can't grade a draft until 10 years from now. I mean, like, just logically, you can't grade a draft. You can pretend to grade a draft. You can predict the draft is bad, but you can't grade a draft until 10 years from now because you have no idea how good these players are going to be. You can't teach heart. You can't grade heart. You can't figure that out. So we'll see what happens. But Mel Kiper gave them an A+ for Cleveland. So, we'll see how that. Rob's a Cleveland Browns fan, so I'm hoping for him that team gets out of the doldrums that they're in. And they're going to move on from their quarterback. Green Bay and Buffalo and the Eagles are my other teams. So they got like B's and B-. I don't care what a grade is. Green Bay got a good receiver. Oh, okay. You're kidding? All right. I didn't know. I actually read that he was some person said he's slow. He's not slow. He's actually fast. It's just so silly. But I would have drafted Travis Hunter the first chance I had if I was any team that there was out there. I think Travis Hunter, he's a little slight, and it's going to be hard for him to play 2 positions, a lot. He's going to have to pick and choose. So he might get injured. But he is super, super talented. Super talented. Anyways, all right, well, you have your own opinion. He didn't go to the combine, so we don't have his 40 speed, do we? It was dumb for him not to go to the combine either. That's ego. It's ego thinking, I don't have to go to the combine. That's ego. He shouldn't have done that. So I think that's a real problem. So, all right, you guys done talk? You want me to talk about the NBA playoffs? I think the Lakers and the Pistons got screwed at the end of the games. I didn't understand. There was no foul call, and it was off on Anthony Edwards. And somehow that turned into a foul. I thought they couldn't add a foul. Actually, what did they say? But they can add a foul. I guess they can add. But LeBron they say it was hand on ball is actually a rule in the NBA. So I looked it up today. I looked it up today, and there is a hand on ball rule. It's effective, but only in the NBA, WNBA, and NCAA. Everything else, like FIBA and high school, whatever, it's not a hand on ball rule. It's got to be incidental contact. So that is actually not a foul when the hand's on the ball. So this is not a foul. I think it's silly. I think that's a foul unless it's incidental, but that's me. So that was not a foul by LeBron. I have no idea where that came from. The replay clearly shows he had almost all ball. Lakers got screwed. Now it's 3-1. It should be 2-2. The Pistons got screwed, which is kind of surprising because it was in Detroit. The guy got fouled twice. He bumped him and then hit his arm, and no foul call on the three-point shot. And they were only down by 1, right? He's just got hit 2 out of 3 free throws. So I thought they both got screwed. The Warriors play tonight, so we'll see. We'll see what happens tonight. But you guys probably want to talk about Caitlin Clark, right? They opened up camp. You saw that, right? I gave you 12 minutes of non-Caitlin Clark. That's pretty good. Let me get back water. Hang on a second. Get a sip of water here. All right. So you guys saw that one Bleaker Report woman. How do these people Bleaker Report's a big organization. How do they get people like that who are so lacking in knowledge that they can't get basic facts right? I mean, you're going to start talking about a particular player in a show, right? Don't you do a little research first before you start talking about him? You're a professional. You're getting paid to do that. If she's getting paid on Bleaker Report, that's a shame. She didn't even know that. She said Paige Beckers was 63rd in the country in assists and said she led the country in assists. 63rd. 4 months. She never led the country in assists. She never had more than, I think, 5.7 assists. I'm not even looking that up. That's true. What? Who's my pick for the NBA title? I'm going with OKC. I'm going conservative in my pick. Sorry, I don't have anything ingenious to pick other than OKC. I think they're on a roll. They're the best point differential in NBA history or something like that. They got great offense, great defense. They got, if not the best player in the league, the second best player in the league. That's a good combination. They play offense and defense. They got home court advantage. I'm going with OKC. Boston doesn't look as good as they were last year. They just jack up threes one-on-one play. Cleveland, looks like the real deal, but I think OKC has more talent. We'll see. The Warriors are up 2-1, right? The Warriors play tonight, so they need to win that series, and the Lakers are down 3-1, right? So I was hoping the two of them were going to meet, but I guess we're not going to get that. But unless Lakers win 3 straight, I wasn't expecting the Lakers to win a championship. I just expected them to get by out of the first round with the home court advantage. I thought they were going to meet the Warriors. I was pretty confident the Warriors could beat Houston, but they're only up 2-1. They still have 2 more games to win. Let's talk about what you guys want to talk about. All right. So the woman said that, and then she said someone else led the country in assists. How could 2 people lead the country in assists? And they were both wrong. Neither one of them led the country in assists. That was hilarious. It was hilarious. That the woman's delusional. How do you get a job like that? You can't even. I mean, a kindergartner could have got the facts better than her. 63rd in the country. All right. So I'm trying to avoid talking about the negativity and the drama and stuff and talk about more about the strategy and the basketball with WNBA. But the women in the league and the people covering it with their bias and stupidity make us comment on their stupidity. And I don't even want to. I don't want to waste my time in it. Like, should I even respond to Natalie Esquire saying something stupid recently? Should I even respond to that? Or should I just forget it? Yeah. Zero accountability. Who said that? Great, great. Yeah, this is not the days of the news with Walter Cronkite. This is just, and it's not just accountability, it's objectivity. Of course, the two go hand in hand. Objectivity. What happened to objectivity in sports reporting and announcing? It's great to have an opinion, that's fine. But have an opinion that has some objectivity to it, some factual basis, reality to it. That's true. Yeah, no, I think Paige can be a very good player. I think she has a nice all-around game, but she's not going to be Caitlin Clark. Let's get it real. What did they put out today? I don't know how to pronounce your name, Fetham. She doubled down today. She said that today. I covered this in a video, as you know, a couple times. She said Paige Beckers, if she hadn't got injured, would have, and I'm going to emphasize this, would have been the biggest star in the world. The biggest star in the world. Not the biggest WNBA star, not the biggest basketball star, not the biggest women's star, not the biggest sports star, and not the biggest athlete. The biggest star in the world if she hadn't gotten injured. Now, there's zero truth to that, and that shows you that Elle Duncan, and she said I mean this sincerely, like, whatever. It shows you how delusional she is that she thought she would have been the biggest star in the world. It's not even close. I mean, so she's just not as exciting as Caitlin Clark, even if she was as good as Caitlin Clark. So she has 2 strikes against her in terms of being a bigger star than Caitlin Clark. Freshman year, they were pretty even. You could have argued who should have been player of the year. Caitlin Clark was more exciting, a bigger draw ever since she was a freshman. So she wasn't even a bigger star than Caitlin Clark, even though she got player of the year. Caitlin Clark had more buzz to her because she was more exciting, even if you thought, regardless of who you thought, she should have won. So there was no truth to that whatsoever. She said that again. Well, she's insane. Elle Duncan is how do I say this? When the tribalism is so strong, isn't that just racism at that point, right? Am I being unfair? Let me know. If the tribalism is so strong, it's racism. And that's what Elle Duncan's doing with Paige. She doesn't see Paige as being white because of her SB speech and her biracial upbringing. Let's just say that. She said that too. Is this another podcast 2 days? I see. Oh gosh, I can't go over the same topics all over again over the time. Juju Watkins is not the face of basketball. She's wasn't even the face of women's basketball this year. It was kind of like a 3-way tie between Paige and Hannah Dago and Juju. The only reason they thought she was because they were pushing her. But Hannah was more exciting. So in essence, in some ways, she was the face. Paige would have been as good if she was more assertive earlier in the year, but she wasn't. She was only assertive near the end of the year. And even Lauren Betts was somewhat the face too, right? She was up there. So that's ridiculous. Juju Watkins drew 6,000 people a game. Okay. Caitlin Clark went from 7,000 to 15,000. Juju Watkins went from 3,500 to 6,000 or something like that in over a 2-year period. It's not even close. And her ratings were like 1/4 what Caitlin Clark's were. So Timpson wins Rookie of the Year. She won't get enough playing time. She looks athletic, right? She's probably a steal for where they got her. And I don't know why she wasn't on anyone's radar for first, second, or third team All-American. But, we'll see. Timpson wins Rookie of the Year. She won't get enough playing time. She won't. She'll make the team. She'll be the 11th person on the team, but she won't get enough playing time just because there's so much talent around her. She could be a great player. And I hope that they develop her and they keep her because they're eventually going to lose some of these free agents have 1-year contracts. But if someone like Bonner can teach Timpson how to play, yeah, she's got the athletic ability. That wingspan is impressive. The jumping ability is there. But if she was really that great a player, she would have made All-American. So let's just cool it a little bit. Let's chill a little bit on her. I think she's going to make the team. So we'll see. That's just my personal opinion. I'm just a guess. I've only watched her play a couple times. I watched Florida State a couple times, and she didn't stand out to me at the games I saw. But I didn't see that much of it. I started watching the Notre Dame game and never finished. But I heard she played good in that game. Anyways, I think she'll make the team, and then there'll be a 12th player that they'll add a 12th player. And I explained this several times that they don't have enough money for both. They got $112,000. She's $66,000. That's $46,000 left over. They can add a 12th player after a third of the way through the season. So anyways, what's going on? All right. There's a basketball player who will be the greatest player of all time. That's true. Yeah. Paige Becker's personality is fine, but she's not as it's kind of bland. Caitlin Clark is funnier. They're both bright. Or she's funnier, she's more outgoing. Yeah, she's more likable. Paige doesn't have the personality to ever be the biggest star of the year. That's ridiculous. It's just like that must be the biggest overstatement about a star in history, to say that she would have been the biggest star in the world. She was a great freshman. That's it. That's all. I hope times on wingspan is amazing. I wish they could Timpson. Yeah. So you said she was on a podcast 2 days ago and said some of this crap. Send it to me, all right? But we're going to try to do more. I told Rob, I said, you don't want to talk about this drama anymore. Then you got to break down more film for us. And we're going to do that now. We're going to break down more film now that the season's starting. So we're going to try to do that more for you guys. Because Rob can break it down better than I can. He coached and played basketball. So anyways. Hello, Basil. Hello, Retro. Hello, Rebecca. Hello, Burrow. I already said hello to Charlie earlier. And hi, Mark. And who else is here? Hi, Tracy. And who else? I missed somebody? Just making comments. If I did, I'm sorry. Vadim. Fetham, I can't pronounce your name. FTHM. Fetham. All right. Hello, everybody. So, anyway. Hang on one second. Hello. Okay. So, anyway. Hot boy Corleone is Mickey in disguise. Rebecca. So pretty much there's 10 people that have, actually one of them doesn't have, Turner doesn't have a guaranteed contract, but she's making the team. So it's the same thing as a guaranteed contract. So those 10 are set pretty much, assuming Turner doesn't get injured or plays terrible in the camp. Then they can add one player until a third of the way through the season, and they can add another player. So there's 5 players. So 4 of them are going to get cut, but one of them can come back in a third of the way through the season. So essentially 3 are going to get cut. That's what's going to happen. Because if they cut a player that has a guaranteed contract, which I think 9 out of 10 have a guaranteed contract, I think everybody, Brianna Turner, I think she has an unprotected contract. They have to pay them anyways, and then they don't have money for somebody else. So it doesn't do any good to cut those people. But none of those people are going to be cut anyways. So So I believe I have that right because I did research on this and read about it. So that's what's going to happen is the 10 people that you think are going to make the team are going to make the team. Then Timpson's probably going to make the team. And then somebody else is going to make the team a third of the way through the season. You guys can, if I think I'm wrong, let me know. But I think I pretty much have the really. I didn't see the risks on that shot, but I'll go look at it again at a different angle. The angle I saw it is pretty much hand, and so we'll see. Of course, I disagree with Basil on almost everything, so I'm not surprised we disagree on that. But I'll go look at the replay again. I didn't see I saw his hand go through the wrist, like graze the wrist and then hit his hand. I didn't see him hit the wrist. That's incidental contact to me on the wrist that I thought. Is Shannon Sharp looking for a new lawyer? He may need a couple. He may need a couple of lawyers. I don't know what to say. I never know what to say when there's accusations, and I don't. And like, wow, if you're going to cry rape, first cry rape legally, and call the police, and then you want to sue them later. Also, that's fine, but don't not cry rape, and then sue them later because it looks like a money grab when you do that. Because you can do both. You can file a rape claim, and then you can also sue them if you want. And when they're rich, they tend to do that against people that are rich. So it's just so silly for them to just sue. Oh, okay, I got raped. I'm going to sue you now. Well, you got raped, and then she said she got raped twice. If you got raped, why do you go back to a guy that raped you? I'm sorry, I know I'm not a woman, but I'm pretty sure that I wouldn't go back to a guy that raped me. That to me made no sense. She said she claimed he raped her twice. So after the first rape, you should have called the police. And if he did rape you, I hope he gets convicted. But you haven't even filed charges against him. So why are you suing? File charges, then sue him. I don't understand that. So it does look bad. But I'm sure he's done something wrong. When the accusations start piling up like that, it's usually not just a money grab. There's usually something else going on. So I think his career is in trouble. I don't know if he's ever coming back to ESPN. They're pretty conservative. Well, not conservative. They're pretty liberal, but they have a reputation-wise. They're not gonna like that kind of stuff. So let me know if you guys think I'm wrong about it. I think Shannon Sharp's not coming back to ESPN. It could happen. I mean, he's a big star. So, anyways. No, these are my new glasses. I have my contacts on, and I have hard contacts and can't see well up close with hard contacts. So I have my reading glasses on so I can read the column to the right. So these are just cheap reading glasses. If I don't put them on, I didn't take my contacts up and put other glasses on. So that's the answer to a question. I actually discussed that when I first came on the air. Let's see. Yeah, I saw that. Poindexter glasses. Yeah, they're just reading glasses. It's hard to find the style that you want in reading glasses. You just pick up whatever you can. Belichick knows how to treat a woman. Yeah. Spoiler, right? Retro likes these glasses. All right. Like my new hairstyle, too. It's a stylist. Got a 3-day growth on. All right. When he got offered $100 million, these women saw. Yeah, I have no idea what happened. I'm merely saying, like, what was that? Who was that woman that got raped by the producer? And then she got paid off 125, 150,000. Which is really that's all it was worth it to you to get raped for 125, 150,000 when this guy's worth $1 billion. Why don't you just call the police if you got raped? And people would respect it. Anyway, let's see. You like these frames? All right. A couple people like the glasses. Some people don't. All right. So anyways, I think Shannon Sharpe's career is not good. I think he'll always do okay in his own podcast, but I don't think he's coming back to ESPN, but I could be wrong. I think Disney is not that type of company, and they control it. And ESPN's a dying company anyways, but so yeah, something's that tape where he threatens to choke her and stuff. That was too much, I think, for people. You know, I thought he was overrated as a commentator, but that's me. People liked him. You know, he got a lot of money, and when he went over to Fox with Skip Bayless. So, but I don't think he's that good, but other people do. I know when he tries to talk about WNBA and women's basketball, he sounds clueless to me. When he talks about football, yeah, he's good. Tries to talk about basketball, he doesn't sound intelligent to me. Most women like to be choked. Well, I'm going to leave that one alone. I don't believe that. I think it's a very small percentage. Didn't Michael Irvin get canceled for hitting hostess in the bar? I mean, yeah, Michael Irvin's career is not going that well right now, but we'll see. I think his podcast will always do pretty well because he's pretty popular. Now, if I could do something with the face. All right, Mark. Let me see your picture. Let's see who has a better looking face. I like all these what do you call typewriter warriors hidden behind their things with no picture of themselves. So yeah, I think Shannon Sharpe's. I think Stephen A. Smith kind of said what he said, that he wasn't even backing up Shannon Sharpe. He just said, "Oh, that was an uncomfortable listen" when he talked about the choking. And I think Stephen A. Smith doesn't go to bat for you. He's on his Stephen A. Smith show. So even though Stephen A. Smith doesn't run ESPN, he's the head honcho, and his first take is the highest ratings because they killed they killed Sports Center because they put Al Duncan on it, and the ratings all went down. When they put Jamel Hill on it, the ratings plummeted. Remember when they put her on? The other guy was okay. Was it Michael Smith? Him and Hers or something? They did that for like 6 months for a year. And the Sports Center's 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock show, the ratings plummeted, and they had to take the two of them off. So, and that's what happened. L. Duncan is there. I can't pronounce the other guy's name, but they don't put white people on ESPN anymore. They just forget. No, you not too many people. They just decided, we're going to go full tilt. Oh. I like choke, but a brutal. Okay. I don't like choke. Oh, hang on. Let me say. I have to take one time. Hello. Hello. Yeah, I'm busy now. Okay. Oh, you got it. Oh. All right. Ocho started claiming that it was racism for Shadir Sanders. That's so stupid. Like with 90% of the first round or two, we were all black players. So okay, we're not going to draft a black player. It wasn't racist. It was obvious what it was. It was a combination of his father. He interviewed poorly, and some of the limitations of his capabilities as a quarterback. and not being a good leader, they thought. So it was obvious why he dropped, but I was surprised he dropped to where he dropped. Mark needs Basil's an operator. One second, guys. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. Stephen A. Smith is terrible. I agree with you, Burrow. I know Stephen A. Smith someone made a really good comment and said Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless ruined sports commentary forever. And I agree, because when they got high ratings on First Take for yelling at each other and having for dumb opinions, and you got high ratings for that, well, that just encourages people to pay these people and have shows like that. So, but it wasn't just, they didn't just ruin it. The people that watched it and listened to it and gave them the ratings, the idiots that found that entertaining, also ruined it. So you can't just blame Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless for ruining sports commentary. You have to blame the audience for doing that too. Because if they didn't get good ratings, they wouldn't continue being like that, and they wouldn't continue to get paid. They wouldn't continue to have jobs. So think of it that way. And then Skip Bayless went over to Fox and was in Shannon Sharpe, and that was, Skip Bayless spent 20 years underrating LeBron James. And you can say you don't like LeBron James or whatever, but he's not the ninth best he's not the ninth best basketball player of all time. I have him second, but he's not ninth. So I'm losing people. Lindy's gone. Why am I losing? I don't know who Lindy is. Okay. Let me see. I'm out. This is garbage. Have a good night. What the heck? What's garbage? Okay. Yeah, exactly. So, did you guys know that Stephen A. Smith, the NBA Finals, there's a video on this on YouTube. Just to give you an idea, he keeps telling everybody how he knows so much about basketball and how he's so brilliant. He got 6 NBA Finals wrong in a row. 6 NBA Finals wrong that he predicted who was going to win. And 3 of the favorites won. I got 4 out of 6 right. He got 0 out of 6 right. I predicted it was a Cleveland over Oklahoma. That was a slight upset. Other than that, the other ones, I got 2 that were the upsets I got wrong, and I got the 3 favorites right. He got 6 out of 6 wrong. So, and he gets paid $20 million a year. Okay, so yes, but what was I talking about that Lindy didn't like? I was just talking about what people wanted to talk about on the thing. I was talking about Stephen A. Smith, Skip Bayless. Is all, whatever. I don't know what to say. I can't talk about Caitlin Clark 24/7. But I'm just trying to talk about what's in the news, because it was pretty big news. Shannon Sharpe, right? And Stephen A. Smith. Shadir Sanders, pretty big news. So we'll go back to Timpson if you want. Oh, well, I didn't prolong that. I'm the one that said you guys are wrong. That wasn't me. You guys brought that up. I said it was difficult to listen to. I did not encourage that type of talk. I talked about how it's bad, and I said that they should claim rape. If it's rape, they should claim it, and not just sue them civilly. That's what I said. So the choking thing is awful. It said it's difficult to listen to. That's what Stephen A. Smith said. I don't know why she would be upset about that. I support women in that situation. So, I was uncomfortable. Well, I don't know. It was in the news. What do you want me to do? I'm sorry. No, I wasn't making that. Yeah, I saw that comment that someone else made. And I did not say that it was a good conversation. So I did not support that. So I'm not sure what you want to do. Person comment. Yeah, I know they made a bad comment. I put that down. So I don't know why was she upset. I put it down. All right. Thank you, Rebecca. So anyways, we'll go over to the Fever. And you guys watch the practice tapes? Did you watch their practice? They release a video of their practices. And did you notice the difference between their practices and the practices of the Indiana Fever last year when Christy Sides was coach? I thought it was drastically different. And I remember watching this one videotape. It was on Chicks Dig Scars podcast. And he showed a videotape of a practice thing. And it was about a minute. I don't know, it was somewhere between 30 seconds and 2 minutes long. But it was basically Erica Wheeler dribbling. And she dribbles around and dribbles. And she goes around. She drives to the basket, and there's people wide open for threes. She ignores them. She goes around, dribbles again. She goes underneath the basket and just throws it up and hits the backboard, and it was back. And then the coach just walks away and just looks at her notes or something like that. So instead of correcting what a disaster that play was, that was the videotape. I need to find that videotape. And that told me Christy Sides is a disaster as a coach, because that was a terrible demonstration of what team ball is and what you need to practice. And it just told me that Christy Sides was clueless in terms of how to practice, let alone coach a team in a game. Anyway. And Bonner said they were running really fast. So their offense will be a force to reckon with. Let me just see. Hang on. You guys are going so fast. Okay. I am excited about the WNBA season because I think they will also, I agree, they will be a force to reckon with. I think they're the favorites. Am I delusional? I don't know. I don't understand. It's New York Liberty. I can get it. New York Liberty favorites, Fever co-favorites, whatever. I can't see if one of those two teams not winning the championship. I don't see how they're not co-favorites. Sorry. I mean, Minnesota Lynx, yeah, they're up there, but they didn't get any better from last year. They don't have enough stars. I know that Nafisa Cowley is going to be on a mission. She's going to be MVP candidate. I get that. But, man, their offense is going to be – they could average 100 points. And their defense is going to be way better than last year. So – did I listen to the practice comments after day 2? I don't think I did. I saw some videos on what was it? Ken Swift. But I don't know if I saw comments about it. But all I know is they have a real coach. So the practices are going to be better. Stephanie White stops giving the game plan away. I think she knows she's not giving away everything. You know, like when they interview those coaches in the middle of the game, they're just saying the obvious things. And everyone knows they're going to run. So That's essentially what she's telling people. They're going to run, and Caitlin Clark's not always going to have the ball in her hands. And, we're going to do this, but good luck stopping it. In fact, anything they told them they're going to do, they could figure that out after game one, what they're going to do. So I think she's pretty sly. I think she's holding back on specific things that she doesn't think they won't be able to figure out as easily in terms of what she's doing. If you think about that whatever you do, the other coaches after playing you once, they're going to figure it out. But good luck stopping it, as long as that team's healthy. Mitchell did it again this year. Okay, so Chrissy Sides was a disaster. You could tell after the first preseason game where she said Caitlin Clark should take long twos and have a half a second to decide what she's going to do at the top of the key or whatever after she releases the ball and whether she's going to cut. I have no idea what she was. It was unclear to me what that half a second was, but that's silly for her to have a second to make a decision. Sometimes you have to wait for a play to develop to realize what you're going to do after you pass the ball. Sometimes you don't know after you pass the ball. So the whole half a second thing was stupid. And then she threw underneath the bus, why are you criticizing your star rookie in preseason and telling the whole world what her faults are? Just tell her in practice. Rob and I disagreed on this. And Rob goes, oh, why? I go, yeah, what purpose does it serve to tell? And she was like that all year where she just criticized her players and her team and never took responsibility. And she was the worst coach I've ever seen. She was the worst coach at press conferences. She never blamed herself. She couldn't call a timeout, like a momentum timeout, which is probably the easiest thing in the world to do for a basketball coach. A momentum timeout. How hard is that? Is it me? She was just awful. Yeah. So Collier. I'm sure there's a push for that. Collier. There's going to be a push for Collier. I agree. It's going to be, all right, we're not going to push Asia Wilson this year. We're going to push Collier this year. I can see that coming. But if the team, the team still has to win, or they're not, or the voters are going to be reasonable, I think. So we'll see how Minnesota Lynx is. They got a good coach. The coach is a jerk, as we know. So we'll see. But the Fever have a real coach this year. That's what I'm excited about. The Fever have a real coach. She's got real teammates. She doesn't have someone like Melissa Smith on the team who's clueless and weakens the team. And they got depth. They're going to have an offense. They're going to have a defense. They're going to have out-of-bounds plays when there's a timeout. They're going to have momentum timeouts. They're going to have everything they didn't have last year. In my opinion. So hopefully better player. Yeah. What are in-game adjustments? Chrissy Sides had no idea what an in-game adjustment was. At halftime, they came out and they were worse than they were in the game. Like they were like the worst third quarter team in the league, which tells you that her in-game adjustments were awful. I don't know anything about Brazil, but they're in trouble. Was it Brazil that he said that? I thought that was Angola. Okay, yeah. Is that what he said? They're in trouble. Well, that team was super stacked. Fever will not recapture. Okay. 1 second. Okay, the Fever will not recapture the excitement of last year when the Fever were the lovable underdog. Caitlin did her thing. This year's team is stacked, too many faces, but it will be fun. Well, I don't know. I think that's a tough one, Bobby. I understand what you're saying, but when they start getting on a roll and they're an exciting team, I think the people forget the fact that they're underdogs as much. And they're not really, they're not like supposedly they're only the fourth favorites to win the title. So I don't necessarily agree that they're not underdogs. They're underdogs in the sense that they're not the odds, they're not the Vegas odds anyways. I think the people who know basketball know there should be first or second, but Vegas odds are like fourth. What was that? Fan side had them sixth. So they're not like a stacked team to the point that people all think they're going to be, rolling through and super favorites like Chicago Bulls. So I think they're going to be lovable in another way. They're going to be lovable in the sense that they're a fun team. They're exciting. They're not super stacked, and they have the most exciting player in the league. So we'll see. I did notice that Caitlin Clark's stance was better on defense, but still not right. She's still too much not bending her knees, too much of a back like this. She's got to learn to bend her knees. It takes more energy to do that. That's why she doesn't do it. It takes more energy to do that. But she has to do it to improve around ball defense. It just drives me crazy. She has bad stance. But yeah. All right, I'm trying to avoid that subject, so okay. I was not surprised. I think that was a good strategy because they wanted to play as many minutes as possible and also to have energy for defense. And if you get her to rest a little bit on offense once in a while, because there is so much energy that she uses on offense because she's, number one, she's very ball dominant. And number two, they're playing fast pace. So the combination of that is energy draining. And she's a human being. So no, I was not surprised. I think it was the right thing to do and to say. And I think it's also off the ball. She could be a 2 if she wanted to be. So off the ball is a 2, right? Someone sets a screen for her. She doesn't have the ball. She gets a wide open 3. Could be great. So I wasn't surprised. I think it shows you that she knows what she's doing as a coach, but that's me. I know people agree with that. Remember the Lombardi's practice? Everybody knew what they're going to do, and they still couldn't stop them. Yeah. Oh, yeah, the end around. Okay. Packer sweep. Yeah, because they perfected what they were going to do. Or, they strived for perfection. They had excellence in what they were going to do. And that's what they did. And that's because they had a great coach. Vince Lombardi taught them how to practice like you play in a game. And I think, I'm not saying he invented that idea, but he certainly excelled at that, practicing like you are in a game. And if you do that, everything else will come naturally. Because if you do that and nobody else practiced as hard as you did, you're going to override them in the game. What I don't understand is why is their camp so short? I don't understand that. That's kind of confusing to me. I know they're allowed to be together as a team before that, but why is the camp so short? The official camp so short? I meant to search that on ChatGPT. Maybe I did. I didn't get an answer. Yeah, we'll see. I think the Liberty is stacked. I really think that's the only thing that's going to stop the Fever from winning a championship is the Liberty. But they can beat the Aces. They can beat Seattle. They can beat the Liberty's the only. I think they can beat the Lynx. They got more talent than the Lynx. They got Lynx maybe a slightly better coach, but they can beat them. It's New York Liberty is the only thing stopping them from the championship. And we'll find out how good they are in like 20 games from now, right? We'll get an idea. Yeah. Christy Sides was so insecure about her getting some credit for the coaching that she wanted to downplay Caitlin Clark. That's my feeling. She was afraid that Caitlin Clark was going to get credit for any additional wins they had that year, when she wanted to be Christy Size getting credit for that. And I'll give her credit for the fact that they went from 6 wins to 13 wins the year before, because Aaliyah Boston was rookie of the year, but she's not a game changer like Caitlin Clark. So you got to give her credit from going from 6 wins to 13 wins, because the roster was similar, I think, from the year before that, 2022 to 2023. So she did a little bit of good coaching in that sense, but she was clueless on how to get to the next level with a player like Caitlin Clark. And she wanted her to get the credit, herself to get the credit. She was insecure. Yeah, there was ball movement. There was ball movement on the tape I saw. So, I don't understand what I didn't see Jimenez's question, so I don't know what that is. Basil. The Liberty brass are smarter than the Fever brass, who are hyper-focused on next year at the expense of long-term growth. Well, I don't know about that. I will tell you right now, the Liberty, that the Fever realize they have Caitlin Clark and the free agents are going to come to them. So I think they're doing the right thing. And the 1-year contracts are probably the players wanted, because the new collective bargaining agreement is at the end of this year. So I don't agree with that. But I think they're going short-term and long-term at the same time. I think they have a huge advantage. Hi, Tulip Place. Tulip, you're the one that thinks that Asia Wilson and Nafisa Cowley are going to be still dominant for the next 5 years instead of Caitlin Clark. I remember that. How are you, Tulip? I don't agree with you. I agree that they're better all-around players at this very moment, but things are going to change. So I remember last week what you were on. But you did have some other comments that I thought were interesting last week. I just don't agree with that one. And I don't agree that people say at their peak after age 30 in basketball. I think it could be good to 32 sometimes, stretch it out. Anyways, I think the Fever draft picks are not going to be the key to the future. I think free agents are. Now can they keep the players underneath the salary cap is the key. So they can't ignore the draft, because you can get people at the minimum for that. I will agree with that. The long term I'm talking about is they know they're going to get free agents easily in the future. That's what I'm saying. And I don't think they necessarily had a lot of choice on the length of the contracts. I think the players that signed all wanted to sign the 1-year contracts because of the collective bargaining agreement. So I'm not so sure they had a lot of choice on that. But it's complicated. So I don't know for sure. The New York Liberty, when they signed free agents, did they sign long-term contracts to all the players this year? I'd have to go look that up. So maybe someone wants to look that up and tell me. But we'll see. I'm sure they thought this through, in my opinion. I'm pretty sure they did. I would have liked to kept Grace Berger myself, and that's my personal opinion. I would have kept Celeste Taylor originally. I don't know why Saxon was on the team as Celeste Taylor, but that's very mind-boggling. It will be interesting to see what the career of Celeste Taylor and Grace Berger is in terms of how good of players they become. They're still young, and obviously they're still young, and we'll see what happens. One's a fourth-year player, one's a second-year player, right? Is Grace Berger? Or is this Grace Berger? I guess it's Grace Berger's third year. I'm mistaken. Third and second year. So I would have liked to, I kept Grace Berger, but they probably did her a favor. She wasn't getting playing time if they're going to bring in Colson. So that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, last year's game was annoying, and anyways, I'm on vacation, so it's just going to be a short 1 hour game thing today. Thursday, I'll be off vacation, so we'll go longer. And Rich Latta said he'd come back on Thursdays. And then I'll try to have some more guest podcasts on Monday nights again as the season starts. I'll reach out to some people. All right. So we're going to a rib special, Monday night rib special restaurant right now to go eat. My friends and I down here. And we're in the Dominican Republic. So any questions that you have or things you want to talk about, we can talk about them Thursday at 5:30. All right. All right. I look good, by the way. Okay. You guys like my reading glasses? I can wear them more often. I don't wear my contacts because I can't read the comments. I can see great from mid to LinkedIn just with the contacts, but I can't. All right. So anyways, I'm on vacation, so I'm ending it short. But I appreciate all your support. And Thursday night at 5:30, okay? And Rob and I will start doing videos again on Wednesday. And we're going to do a lot of videos to make up for what ones we didn't do as I was on vacation. All right. So cool. All right. We'll talk to you later. You guys have a good night. Thanks for showing up. Dominican mystery ribs. Yeah. That's now they have the great rib special. And we got a couple friends waiting, so we're going to go. All right. We'll see you later, everybody. Thursday night, 5:30, and we'll have videos again on Wednesday. Look for them. And Rob said he's going to do some more breakdowns on videos. I asked him to concentrate on that. So it sounds good. All right. Talk to you later.